Right, here we are once again for another fantastic live with Cosmic Queen. I am so happy to see you again. We're maybe a little bit late than the previous years, but actually that gave us some more time to see because this year is already starting to show itself. So yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of astrologers have been talking about how happening this year is going to be, how fast paced, and it's quite apt that in Chinese astrology, this is the year of the fire horse, which just gives you that idea of something charging. It gave me the idea in the tarot cards, not that I'm an expert on tarot, but I had this idea of the knight, the guy on the horse charging, the chariot perhaps even. And I know that the chariot in tarot can be seen both in a good way and in a kind of shadow way, but also in numerology, this is a year number one because 2026 adds to 10, so it's number one. And in numerology, this is the start of a new cycle. Numerology has a cycle of 9 years. So last year we were in the year nine, which was, and we can talk a little bit about last year being kind of a lot of things falling apart, a lot of things ending, both on the world stage, but also on a personal level. And this is a new start. And the number one is the associated with the sun, with the planet, the sun. So there is vitality, there is spark, there is ignition, there is initiative. Let's start something. Hi from Christchurch. Welcome. And, so yeah, so first of all, how was your year? How was your 2025, Cosmic Queen?
Oh, well, those that follow me on social media know I came in and out a little bit. So it was quite an intense year with a lot going on. But like you were saying, with 2026 being a number one year, and then when I start talking about astrology, which is going to get me really excited, the energies feel completely different this year. It really does feel like a new start. And I was feeling it over the Christmas period. So thank you to you all for your patience. As Giovanna mentioned, we're quite late bringing this webinar to you this year. And that's because my father was in hospital over Christmas. So he went into Christmas on Boxing Day. And during that time, and I'd already planned it, that I wanted to do a massive clean out. So clean out cupboards, clean out drawers. I really wanted to start 2026 feeling really fresh. Where I live, I love where I live, but I've been here 10 years. I don't like clutter. I feel like I'm always cleaning out, but I had to do a massive clear out. And that was one way to use all my nervous energy as well, not knowing what was, going on with my dad. Um, and the shift I've felt since everything's been cleared out just feels amazing. And I feel like that's really set me up for 2026. I feel like with 2026, it is going to be a completely different pace. So when I talk about the transits and what's happening, Giovanna, I can't wait to hear what you recommend to deal with these energies because it's going to be a faster pace, but also for some people, it might feel a little bit jittery as well. And so homeopathy is going to be really important, using some remedies just to try and really ground ourselves. But I feel like the energies this year are very, very different. And we've also got some really exciting transits coming up that I can't wait to share with you that are going to be impacting us in the next couple of years. And they're really powerful, life-changing transits. So it does feel like this year, it's like it's a new start, it's a new beginning. And the timing, like you said, Giovanna, the timing for today is really, really perfect because depending on where you are in the world, we've got a new moon in Capricorn, either, tomorrow or the next day, again, depending on where you are, the 18th or the 19th. And I will talk about that, but it's going to set us up for this year. It's going to really, really set us up if we really tune into those energies and use the energies in the right way to start planning. So, in terms of last year and this year I feel really excited. I don't think I felt that excited last year.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yes.
yes, there was a lot of there was a lot of water last year, and on every level there was a lot of floods around the world, and we had these planets in Pisces. Was that Saturn and Neptune in Pisces for the longest time? And I
Yes.
mean, I had floods in my bathroom because they're in my fourth house. I mean, how literal is that? So the fourth
It's
house,
very literal.
the
Yeah.
house of the home of, and you've got these planets in Pisces, so water on a very basic literal level. And what happens? My toilet explodes and floods the the first floor in my house. And it was on and on. I mean, we had a lot to do with plumbing, let's say,
Mm.
especially in the last. So yeah, so that can be literal.
Yes.
But also kind of slow, because when you're wading in water, yes, there
Mm.
was movement, there was a lot of things happening, I'm sure, and on the world stage in 2025, but it was, for my liking, perhaps slow. It wasn't
Mm.
fast enough. It wasn't happening enough. It was kind of stagnant a little bit. And I know that Saturn kind of pulls you back a little bit
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
And so I felt a little bit, whereas now, like you say, I feel, yeah, anything can happen.
Mm.
This is a great, I think this can be a great year
Yes.
if you channel the energies, because the energies are through the roof, but you need
Mm.
to tame them. It's like this horse, this fiery horse. You need to kind of ride it, but you need to tame it. You need to, direct it in the right
Yes.
direction where you want to go. But if you get to the right direction, I feel that it can be amazing.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So let me share with you a quick overview of the 2026 energy. So where we're at the moment, as Giovanna just mentioned, we've got Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries. They're going to come together really soon. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, though, because I want to go into a bit more detail. But Uranus is still in the sign of Taurus. So Uranus has been in Taurus since I think 2018. And in the middle of this year, Uranus is going to move into Gemini. And so it's a very different shift in energies. So if we talk about Uranus, Uranus is about innovation. Uranus is about change. It's about technology. Uranus doesn't care if you're ready for changes or not. It just sweeps through and brings those changes, and it can be quite sudden. It can also feel quite erratic at times. So when we talk about Uranus being in Taurus, we've seen innovations with money, with our values, what it is that we put our time into. Taurus is all about security and stability, and it doesn't really sort of mix well with Uranus, because Uranus is about sudden change and innovation. So they weren't overly happy together. It wasn't a placement that worked really well. But in terms of if we were tapping into Uranus in Taurus and looking at how do I want to express my values? I want to express them in a different way. Or how do I want to make money? Because Taurus, being the second house, is the money house. If you were really tapped into, different forms of income and how you make money, Uranus can be quite spectacular, bringing new opportunities through. It really just depended on where it sat in your chart and how you used those energies. But it's going to be very different when Uranus moves into Gemini. So, Gemini being all about communication, about technology. Also, the ways we communicate with people will probably change. I mean, technology is changing every day anyway, but Uranus in Gemini, it's going to really speed up a lot of the, advancements in IT. And Gemini being that sign of duality, Uranus being in the sign of Gemini can bring a lot of confusion. And so it can sometimes feel like things are moving way too fast, especially if Uranus is making some transits to the personal planets in your chart. It can feel erratic, it can feel overwhelming. You might feel like, you're coming down with headaches more often because your head, it's just like, it can feel like you can't switch off. So it's being really conscious of where Uranus is hitting in your chart. because if it's hitting, say, on one of the outer planets, it's you're not going to feel it in the same way. It'll be great to set things up in the long term, like how you want to use that energy. But if it's hitting on your sun, hitting on your moon, hitting on your rising sign, it can feel like it's just a bit too close and overwhelming. Um, so that's Uranus, and then Jupiter. Jupiter at the moment is in the sign of Cancer, which is beautiful. Jupiter loves being in Cancer. It's really lucky placement. And Cancer is also a very entrepreneurial energy. Cancer can come across like they're just a little bit quiet, and because they don't give all their cards away, they don't show their hand. But oh my God, their brains are ticking over. So many ideas. Cancerians know the value of things and how to make money. So Jupiter in the sign of Cancer is a really great placement. So if you've got Jupiter hitting on your chart, if you've got Cancer strong in your chart, you want to use that before Jupiter moves into the sign of Leo, which is going to happen on the 30th of June. And so when Jupiter moves into Leo, it's a very different energy because Leo is where we shine. This is where we need to really step up and allow ourselves to be seen, allow ourselves to own, our platform. And this is where issues of self-belief can come in because with Leos, they can come across as really charismatic and really confident, but inside, there's that anxiety and issues of self-belief. So it's knowing what's going on for you and whether, and I'm going to hand over to you now, Giovanna, because if we talk about Jupiter in Leo, if there's some issues of self-belief, and then also if we go back to Uranus in Gemini, if we're feeling things are a bit erratic, a bit scattered, dealing with those energies, what would you recommend to deal with those energies so that we can tap into them and get the most out of them?
Well, I would say for the first time, actually, that I have a remedy that I will use as a blanket for the whole year, and not just for this year,
Oh,
but for for the next few years at least to come, and that's the turquoise. And
which is
last
why
year,
you're wearing turquoise. Now I
it's
get
part of
it.
the reason, and I've been working on turquoise as a homeopathic remedy for nearly a year, and that work culminated in the workshop that I did back in October in New Mexico, where I did a workshop, and in a group we created a new homeopathic remedy, and it's new because it's been prepared in a completely different way that has not been done before, and it has to do with collective consciousness. But turquoise itself is like the bridge. The reason why I went to New Mexico is because that's basically the home of turquoise. That's where
Right.
turquoise lives and where
Okay.
it's lived for thousands and thousands of years. And in Native Indian culture, turquoise is the bridge between the heavens and the earth. And so it gives you that balance, first of all. It's considered a kind of direction, a giver of direction. How do you call that thing that you use to find your north and stuff? I can
Oh,
never.
your compass? Yes,
Yeah,
it's
your
like the
compass.
compass.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. I blanked on that. So it's a compass.
Mm.
It's a moral, spiritual compass. It gives you the direction of where you want to go. But when we worked on the turquoise and created the remedy, we found that this medicine also gives you the confidence of showing who you really are, which is very Leo, which
Mm.
is very, solar plexus. We physically felt almost pain in the chest, in our solar plexus while we were working on this remedy. This is how you know how what the remedy as a medicine is going to do, depending on the symptoms that you get while you're working
Mm.
on it. And so many people, and I have been given this remedy to try. We did a group testing, So many people said exactly the same thing, giving you the grounding and the courage in some cases. Maybe it's a big word, but um, the um, the revelation in some other cases, like you really understand yourself, you understand who you are, and you are here to show it, and you know, and this is the time, and this is the right time. And this works on a collective level as well. So not just on the individual level. This is the novelty that we brought to this remedy. It doesn't just work on you just because you are taking the remedy. It works on a, I call it on a horizontal level as well as on a vertical level, because your family will be affected, your loved one will be affected. There is this sense of collective, which you can talk about that if you want, you know, the age of Aquarius,
Mm,
the Pluto and
mm.
Aquarius. We are going into collective mode, as in,
We
you know,
are with the nodes changing and the nodes changing
yes,
into Leo in Aquarius. That's the dilemma that people will have to sit with. It's the whole Leo, me versus Aquarius, which is the collective. And like you said, we've got Pluto in Aquarius as well. And very, very, very interesting energies for this year
yeah,
that
I
we're
find
moving
we were
into,
almost
particularly with the
psychic when we
eclipses.
were doing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
work.
yeah.
We had thoughts bouncing from one person to another person, and somebody would say it out loud, but it would be the same word and the same thought. I mean,
Mm,
it was almost spooky. So we're moving into this collective consciousness. I find this
mm.
new sense of compassion, like real compassion, not just the
Yes,
word that people say, oh, you need to be compassionate, you need
yes.
to be kind. We're really feeling, it means that we're really feeling what other people are feeling, and this is going to make us better. It's going to give us more awareness and more self-awareness, because within that we're going to really find out who we really, really are and what we can really, really give as an
Mm,
individual. So there is that Leo component. Here I am, and I come here with what I can give to the
yes.
collective for the greater good. So I thought, and this is why I think this remedy is for everybody, and it's for the whole
Mm,
year, because at the same time it gives you that kind of feet on the ground, because it's not airy fairy
mm,
at all. It's very, very practical, but it's very, very, it's real, it's authentic.
mm.
It's you know, people came to me and said, "Oh, I had this thing. I knew I wanted to be this and that, but I was always afraid. I didn't want to disappoint my family. I didn't want to do that. But this is who I really am, and I want to now. I want to do it. I want to do what I really care about,
Mm,
what I'm passionate about. So the truth comes out."
mm,
So many levels, and again, this is Leo. This is really like, here I am, and the confidence of doing it. So I
oh,
think
I love it. I'm going to have to message you and get my hands on some of that remedy. I love the sounds of it. Love the sounds of it. And it sounds like that'll set us up for there's some really phenomenal transits this year. So from July this year, we've got Jupiter in a beautiful trine to Neptune, beautiful trine to Saturn, both of them in Aries. So that's July 2026. And then in July, we've got the start of a cycle of transits that's going to really impact us over the next few years. So we've got Uranus in Gemini in a beautiful trine to Pluto in Aquarius, and we're going to have 5 hits of this. So the first hit's going to be on the 18th of July this year. And then the hit on the 29th of November this year actually connects in with Neptune. So it's this like phenomenal golden triangle, like amazing, amazing energies. Now, this is all at the very start of Aquarius, so it's happening at 4 degrees Aquarius. So if you know your chart and you've got natal planets early Aquarius, have a look because this Uranus Pluto trine will be hitting on your chart. Then we've got 15th of June 2027, 13th of January 2028, which is one of my best friend's birthday. So I can't wait to share that with her when we get closer. She won't remember if I tell her now. And then on my daughter's birthday, the 9th of May 2028. So there's 5 hits. Now, this is really rare energy and really auspicious. So Uranus can bring in phenomenal, sudden, fabulous change. Pluto's really powerful. So the two energies together are both really disruptive energies, but Pluto is all about power. It's powerful energy. It's like big projects that we're working on. We're not talking small projects. It's projects that have a big impact. And that Uranus energy is really innovative, but it can also be lucky. Both of those planets can actually be really lucky when they're in a trine aspect like that. So if there's something that you're working on where you're wanting to bring powerful people together or, create a really powerful impact and your work is disruptive. So if you're going to be disrupting, the whatever field that you're in, this energy is going to be supporting you. So that is a really, really exciting transit that's coming up. And then the big one, which we all have probably heard about and we know what's coming, is Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Now, in 2025, they came very close to being conjunct, but the exact conjunction is happening this year in 2026. And so let's talk about those energies because they're very different energies. So Saturn is about discipline. Saturn's a very serious energy. Saturn wants us to do the right thing. It wants us to work hard. It wants us to put the things in place to support us, like put your project plans together, document everything that you need to do, step out step by step. How am I going to be successful? It's also about doing your due diligence, like what are the risks, what might come up, and having plans in place so that you know how to deal with them when they come up. Quite often, when people talk about Saturn, it's in a negative way because they haven't done their due diligence. So it might be, there's forms that they haven't filled out, there's government forms, or they haven't done something for their accountant, or all of those sorts of things. But if we're working with Saturn, we do all of those things. We prepare in advance. Yes, it's boring. It's really boring. But Saturn wants us to be responsible. So we do all of those things. And when we do all of those things and we do them in the right way, we're setting ourselves up for success. And that's what Saturn wants. Neptune is very different energy. Neptune can be dreamy. It can be magical. It's also the higher octave of Venus. So, it can be love that we're talking about here. It can also be beauty. All the most like phenomenal movie stars, like, the Joan Collins of the world, they all have multiple planets in Pisces, which is, represented by Neptune. And you'll find that the movie stars all have Neptune on their rising sign. Like they are beautiful. So Neptune represents that as well, but it also represents our spiritual side. So bringing Saturn and Neptune together, it's like this practical idealism. This is us coming up with these phenomenal ideas. So maybe we've got dreams and goals and things that we want to create, but Saturn helps us ground those ideas and work out how are we going to bring that into reality? How are we going to plan this out to make it happen? And so even though they can feel like opposite energies, when we know how to work with them and work with them together, it's quite phenomenal, the impact that they can make. But what is awesome about these energies coming together this year is they come together conjunct at 0 degrees in Aries. And 0 degrees in Aries is considered the very start of the zodiac. And it is such a rare transit that the last time Saturn and Aries were conjunct at 0 degrees in Aries was actually 7,000 BC. That's how long ago
Wow.
that
What was going
transit
on?
happened. A really long time
Anybody
ago.
remember?
No, I only vaguely remember. I know Mara was there, but that's all I remember. We were in Egypt, Mara, yes. Um, but the last time Saturn and Neptune were both in Aries, and again, not at 0 degrees in Aries, was about 300 years ago. So it's a very, very rare occurrence, this transit,
Mhm.
but it is phenomenal because it represents a new start for us. And so we had a taste of this in 2025 because the energies were trying to come together. They almost were conjunct and then they'd retrograde and come apart. Now they're coming together in February. Let me see, where have I written the date down? Um, Bear with me. I've written it down here somewhere. I will find it. Um, but it's bringing structure to our dreams. It's
Mhm.
bringing those dreams into reality, but with that element of structure to it. So this is all about a new start, a new beginning. But what that new start or what that new beginning is depends on where this is happening in your chart. So where is Aries? What house is Aries in your chart? Where is this hitting on in your chart? Is it hitting on any other planets? Because that's going to tell a story as well. Um, so knowing that information is really important. And what I'll be doing after this, I'll be putting a post up on Cosmic Queen, and I'll be letting people know I'll do some really mini consults. I did them for Chiron last year or the year
Oh,
before,
yes, yes, I
knowing
remember.
where Chiron was hitting in your chart. And it's just a quick reading. So I'll be doing the same thing for Saturn and Neptune in Aries, so people know how to leverage these energies. And it's just exciting. Like it's really, really exciting energy
Yeah,
because I know most of us can feel it. Most of us can feel that we want to do something differently. We want to tap into our dreams. We want to make our dreams a reality. And the beauty of Saturn is Saturn shows us how we do that. On the other hand, again, depending on where it's hitting in your chart, because Neptune being the higher octave of Venus, which is all about love, and Saturn, people think, well, Saturn can sometimes feel like it's a dampening energy, but when Saturn and Neptune come together, it can actually formalize a partnership. So there can be marriages, there can be new unions that come together under this energy because Saturn says, you know what, we need to formalize this. Or it's the opposite. You know what? It's not right. We need to step away. And so Saturn's, it brings that serious side to it. So I'm really excited about the Saturn and
I am
Neptune
too,
area
because it's
coming
almost
together.
hitting my fifth house. And so I'm like, let's get this party started.
I had a look at your chart. It's actually at the very end of your fourth house
Yes,
because your fifth house starts at 4 degrees of
that's right.
Aries. So they're going to come together in your fifth house um, later in the year, probably next year, because the
Yes,
planets go backwards and forwards. But for you being at the very end of your fourth, it's like cleaning things up.
yes,
It's
yes,
about making sure the security and stability and all of those, like it's like your foundations are set up. It's
yes.
because as soon as they move into the fifth house, it's like, watch out, baby. Watch out. It's going to
Yes,
bring in
that's how I
fresh
feel. I've
energy.
been really working
Yes.
on the boring bits that you mentioned.
Yes.
Dotting the I's and crossing the T's and filling in the
Yes.
forms,
Yes.
which I don't think anybody likes that, but I have a particular, I mean, I really have to force myself to do stuff like that.
Yes.
And not just for
Yes.
me, for my family, kids need, different transition, but really putting things into play. And again, how literal is that?
Mm.
We're getting a small extension built at the back of my house.
Mm.
And again, so, checking that everything is in place, all the permits and all the things. And so really
Yes.
foundation, when you say foundations, yes, we need
Yes.
to build a
Yes.
everything is literal, and that's Saturn. And actually it's a really good thing that Saturn is there, because Neptune can be really dreamy, and you can
Mm.
actually be a little bit delusional and go
And
off
and
on
unproductive as
tangent.
well. Yes.
And so it's great that Saturn is there to kind of rein you in and say, hey, 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 did you sign on the dotted line there? Did you read the contract?
Yes,
Did you read the small print? All the
exactly.
boring bits. So yeah, so it's exciting. It feels like there is a preparation, and I'm getting closer, and I'm getting closer.
Yeah, because for you, it's really interesting at the end of the fourth house, knowing that you're doing all this preparation, but it's like you're about, as soon as we get into the fifth house, it's like you're going to give birth to something so fabulous. Um, it's quite a big concept that's coming through for you. It's quite a big piece of work, is what I'm getting. And these energies being at the very end of your fourth house, it, like you said, it's all of that due diligence, but it's, like all the preparation you do before you have a baby. That's what it's
Mhm.
like for you. All
Yeah,
that
that
preparation, because
really,
this baby's
yeah,
coming. Yeah.
that really feels like that. And so,
Mm.
so yes, and it can be, and sometimes if anybody else has this kind of, the transits are hitting between two houses, that can be a kind of
Mm.
feeling on of in and out. Like sometimes it
Yes.
feels more like fourth house getting, the work done and all the
Hmm.
preparation. Sometimes you see glimpses of the
Yes.
next house and what can really happen. But you're right, the preparation, all the practical things and things like that. So yes, I mean, there's so many things. My new book is coming out hopefully next month, but I am in the process of putting all the
Oh,
all the things that you
yes.
have to do before something is
Yes.
published, all the editing, and did you check this and did you check that, and
Mm.
I'm not big on detail as a person, and so I have to ask and rely on other people to check, to help me check the deal,
Yes.
because there's things that I don't see. I'm a big picture person. I'm like, okay, let's go, let's do that. But how do we we'll figure it out.
I love it.
I know that I have to be really more disciplined. Again,
Yes.
thank you, Saturn. But yeah, the preparation that goes with that, and the patience that you need to have. Again, I'm not big on patience here. So yeah, I mean, how long does it take to do an editing? Come on, it's not a big book.
But that's part of Saturn as well, is even just having that awareness, because we don't have to do everything ourselves. If we have the awareness that this is something I'm not very good at, I don't like, I know it has to be done, and we
Yeah.
can outsource it. But it's that awareness. It's when we don't have that awareness, or we're like, you know what, I can't be bothered, or it's really not that important, and we don't do it. That's when
Mm,
Saturn comes back and whips our ass into shape.
yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have to do it all, but somebody has to. So
Yeah.
it's that awareness. So you're keeping all the ducks in a row. It's all happening. It's all getting done. So you're using the energies really well. It's awesome.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Saturn is about karma, isn't it? It's like it's not a judgment thing. It's really the law
No,
of consequences. You do your work, and it will return to you in a positive way. It will work out. You do a
absolutely. And
sloppy
and
job, and
Saturn,
yeah,
yeah, Saturn can be very similar to Jupiter. And this is where people don't understand Saturn energies, because they don't do the right thing. Saturn comes back and bites them on the bum. But when you do the right thing, and particularly when you know your Saturn placement and you know what your lessons are, you know what it is that you have to learn and work on, Saturn transits can become like a Jupiter transit, in that it rewards you because it wants you to be successful. Saturn ultimately wants you to be really, really successful and proud of what you do. And so
mhm,
when you work with it, it it is honestly like a Jupiter transit, where the light shines on you and your competence shines through, your expertise shines through. You get renowned for the work that you do because you're working with those energies.
mhm.
So Saturn definitely does reward you in the same way that Chiron does as well. When you have your Chiron return, can be quite horrendous. But again, when you work with those Chiron energies and you understand the wound and you work with that wound, opportunities can come through in really unexpected exciting ways. And that's another planet transit that's going to change this year as well. So we've had Chiron in Aries, and this year we're going to have a taste of it in June. So Chiron's going to move into Taurus from the 17th of June to the 17th of September. Then it's going to retrograde back. And then April 2027, Chiron is going to be in Taurus. So again, knowing our chart and understanding our chart, and I've got a friend who their natal Chiron is in Taurus, and I had a chat with them probably about 2 years ago now, because I could hear them talking about money, 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 money all the time. And so, and again, it depends on what house you're, if you've got Chiron in Taurus, like what house is it sitting in? But for this particular person, it was always feeling like they never had enough money. And Taurus being the money house, they felt like it didn't matter what they did, they never had enough money. And they were always focused on them versus everybody else and comparing themselves to everybody else. So I had a chat with them and I said, this is your Chiron coming through. This is your Chiron issue. This is your wound. Let's work with it, because if you start working with it now and understand this wound and work with it, when you have your Chiron return, it is not going to be horrendous, because Chiron returns, if we haven't worked on that wound, oh my God, they are next level horrendous. And so this person, to their credit, really did work on that. And they've completely turned things around, which is great, because we're about to have Chiron move into Taurus. So it could be money issues for people that have Chiron in Taurus, or it could be around their values. And again, it depends on what house it's sitting in, but it's their values, it's about money, it's about security, it's about stability. So if this is something that's a sensitive point in your chart, you might have, amazing security and stability. But if transiting Chiron is hitting on something in your chart, you suddenly might get anxiety around, do I have enough? Am I safe? Am I secure? Do I have enough money in the bank? Have I set myself up? There could be some issues around that. And so there could be some scarcity issues. And again, it's knowing that it's Chiron and it's not real. It's a self-belief, it's a wound, something that, potentially we can work through. And when we do work through it, Chiron is phenomenal, really phenomenal. Like, speaking from my own experience, having Chiron in Aries, when I stepped into that energy and went after what I want and did what I really wanted to do, I had opportunities coming at me that I would never have expected to come at me. And I was blown away, because I'd seen it happen to other people. And when I do readings for people, I share, look, work on this, and I promise you, it's going to be even better than Jupiter, what's going to come at you. But then to experience it yourself, it's quite overwhelming and really humbling, because you didn't set that opportunity up, but this is Chiron working with you because you've worked on your wound. It's just incredibly powerful. So yeah, potentially there could be some issues coming up for us, depending on where Chiron is in our chart and what Chiron is transiting in our chart as well. So if it's hitting on something that's sensitive. Now, speaking of sensitive, let's talk about eclipses and retrogrades for 2026. Because as we mentioned before, the nodes are changing. So we're moving from the node of Virgo and Pisces into Leo and Aquarius, and this is happening on the 27th of July. So like we spoke about, that focus, that Leo focus, it's about me versus the collective. And when we talk about the nodes, this is about us balancing those things out. So it's not about us having to completely focus on the collective, because there's times where we have to step into our platform, we have to allow ourselves to shine, but it's balancing that out. So it's not all about us and it's not all about the collective as well, because we do need both. And so it's getting that balance. And quite often with Leo energy, a lot of people don't understand that it's okay for me to shine, and it's okay for me to shine really, really brightly when I'm promoting the work that I do, that I'm really passionate about, because quite often you're helping other people and you're motivating other people and you're showing other people, if I can do this, you can do this, and I'm showing you the way. And where people get, I guess, disillusioned with Leo energy is they see all the movie stars and all the influencers who are all me, 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 look at me, look at me. And you get a bit like, oh God, I don't ever want to be like that. And so we associate that with Leo energy. But when we really step into that Leo energy, which is really authentic, it's shining a light on us so that we can shine a light on others and show people the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredibly powerful because that Leo energy ignites people in a way that it's really often hard to describe. It's like when you go to a conference and there's the most mesmerizing presenter or speaker, and it motivates you to go and take action on something, like they've
Yeah.
had that impact on
Yeah.
you. And that's what Leo energy is about. It's about having that really powerful impact where people want to change, they want to do something differently. And you've created that impact because the power in Leo energy is in its opposition, which is Aquarius energy. It's actually based in the collective.
Yeah.
And so when we allow ourselves to shine from a perspective of that collective, we can have really, really quite phenomenal results.
Yeah.
So it's balancing that out, knowing when I need to step up and when I need to focus on others and allow others to shine as well.
And
And
it's
so,
interesting that
yeah,
you mentioned the if you like, the shadow side of Leo, as in
mm,
the celebrities and the influencers. And isn't it interesting that celebrities have less and less of an impact on us normal people? Like, as in, we don't care what they say, we don't care what they think, we don't care
mhm,
what they tell us that we should be doing, who we should be rooting for or whatever. Nobody
mm,
cares anymore. That
no,
side of fakery is collapsing. Again, that's the old
mm,
and it's the fake. And
yes,
again, the authentic, the word authentic that you mentioned, that's
mm,
the key. And that's also what turquoise works with. But that's the best expression of Leo. The best expression of Leo is not the ego, that's the shadow side if you get carried
mm,
away. But Leo is generosity. Leo is,
yes,
I am here to give. Look, I've got all this stuff and
that's
I
it.
can give it to you. And I have a lot of friends in Leo, and they are so generous. They just give of
They
themselves
do. They
um,
do. And that
because
there's
it's
so
like
much love
breathing.
that they
Yes,
give.
there is love.
Yeah.
It's literally open heart, and it's so,
Yes.
it makes you so vulnerable. And
Mm,
yes, open to be taken advantage of, open to be wounded, but they can't help it. It's that
yeah.
I'm open. I cannot not be
No.
open. It's just who I am, and I've got all this stuff, and it's for the, for the good of everybody else. If you want it, if you need it, take it. That's Leo, and that's the most beautiful expression. Then, of course, everything has got, every sign has a shadow side, but that's
Mm,
why that's the Aquarius at the other end, reminding you, yeah, okay, but it's for everybody. It's not just you
absolutely.
here. But
Yes.
yeah, Leo is that amazing. You can tell Leo people. They walk into a room full of people and they start chatting. They don't need to do
Massive
anything.
energy. Yes. Yes.
Everybody flocks around. Everybody's charmed.
Yes.
Everybody listens.
Yeah.
There is this magnetism. It's amazing. But yeah, it's really true. Yeah, yeah. Authentic. That's the
Yes.
word, authentic.
Yes, really authentic. And so that's going to be what we need to really balance out with the eclipse season this year is between
Mhm,
focus on me, focus on the collective, but focus on me in terms of the impact that I'm going to
mhm.
have and that element of self-belief that I can have that
Yeah.
impact. Because even though Leo energy is that big, charismatic, fabulous, loving energy, there's a lot of issues with self-belief, and Leo energy quite often feels that they have to give and give and give and give because they need that validation, and people don't realize actually how
Mm,
sensitive they are, and quite
yeah.
often they give for the validation. So again, it's balancing that I'm giving because of the impact that I create, and understanding that what am I doing for validation? So it's balancing all of that out. So in terms of the eclipses, we've got a solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th of February. We've got a
Mhm.
lunar eclipse in Virgo on the 3rd of March, a solar eclipse in Leo on the 13th of August, and then a lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 28th of August. So they're going to pack a punch this year for eclipse season. And so there's going to be themes of like our creative expression, which is that fabulous Leo energy, also trusting our timing as well, trusting our timing that whatever it is that we want to develop or put out to the world, the timing is going to be perfect. And that balance between that big picture idealism and that practical reality as well. So it's very, very interesting for eclipses. Now, I'm going to give you the retrograde dates as well in case you want to jot them down. If you're planning anything that you're planning, just make sure it's not during Mercury retrograde unless you have Mercury retrograde in your natal chart as that it's natally retrograde for you, and then go for your life. Now, interestingly, Mercury retro this year, because it always happens 3 times a year, it's all in water signs. So it's going to run deep and be a little bit emotional. There'll be a lot more beneath the surface that we're not aware of. So we've got Mercury retrograde in Pisces from the 26th of February to the 20th of March. Mercury retrograde in Cancer from the 29th of June to the 23rd of July. And then Mercury retrograde in Scorpio from the 24th of October to the 13th of November. That's one to be really mindful of in the sign of Scorpio, because there may be some information held back, some secrets come through, maybe some lies that you're being told. Just be super, super aware when it's Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, because then at the same time, sorry to tell you, we're also going to have Venus retrograde in Scorpio and then Libra, and that's from the 3rd of October to the 14th of November. So November this year will have Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. So don't plan anything important during those dates, okay? Venus retrograde in Scorpio and then Libra, particularly Venus retrograde in Scorpio, there could be some really raw truths that come through, and maybe truths that people don't want to hear but need to hear. There can be some attachment, control, power issues in relationships. And then as Venus retrogrades back into Libra, it can be about balance and compromise and self-love. It's going to pack a punch, our Venus retrograde this year. And then we don't have a Mars retrograde technically this year, but it will be January 2027. So we need to prep for that as well, because normally at the start of the year, come January, we're all full steam ahead in our project plans, what we want to create for the start of the year. But when Mars is retrograde, it just slows everything down. I really struggle during Mars retrograde. I feel like the wind is taken out of my sails and everything slows down, and I really struggle to work with that energy. So it's just an awareness. January next year will be Mars retrograde. But on a really bright note, what I'm excited to share with you is what I mentioned at the start, is we're about to have a really fabulous new moon in Capricorn. So depending on where you are, it's going to be Sunday or Monday. And this is going to be particularly potent because Mars, Mercury, as well as the sun and the moon, they're all conjunct in Capricorn, which is really dynamic energy. There's a trine to Uranus and a beautiful sextile to Saturn and Neptune as well. So this new moon is about setting ourselves up for 2026 and knowing the transits that we've spoken about with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, as well as Uranus trine Pluto, and then Jupiter is going to have a lovely trine to Saturn and Neptune in Aries as well. Knowing those dates, how are we going to plan this out? what do we want to achieve for 2026? Knowing that Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn wants us to be methodical. It wants us to put a plan in place. It wants us to succeed. And so what would be a really great use of your time, for the rest of your weekend is starting to plan. Put a plan in place. What do I want to create? Because what you're actually doing is designing your year. You're designing your 2026.
This is
You're
so on
setting
point. It's
yourselves up.
crazy.
Yes.
I'm actually meeting with a friend of mine, and I'm actually right in the middle of planning my calendar for the year.
Yes.
Which
Perfect.
again is something that is kind of boring, but it helps me to do it with somebody else who can kick my
Yes.
butt and say, okay,
Yes.
come on, think and
Yes.
plan ahead, because again, I'm
Yes.
always like, so this is perfect.
And I love that you're doing it with a friend. If I give you an example, there's other fun ways to do it because I know Saturn energy can feel a little bit draining because we have to plan things out, but it's also about keeping ourselves accountable. So on a local Facebook group, there was a lady that apparently she set it up for the last couple of years. So this year is 26 in 26. So what are 26 fabulous things that we want to challenge ourselves to do in 2026? And so if we hadn't documented everything by the 31st of December, you were kicked out of the group and you weren't allowed into the Facebook group for 2026,
wow.
which I thought was fabulous because, again, it's keeping people accountable. If you're not going to list your 26 in 26, why are you even in the group? You've got no skin in the game. And so I loved that. And so the idea is each month you jump into the group, you update everyone on what you've done. But if you want to create events where there's something that you want to do and other people want to do it as well, you create an event and you're meeting new people at the same time. And so I thought that was a fabulous idea. So that's another way we can keep ourselves accountable in 2026. We can put an action plan together. We can do it with someone else, which is what you're doing, Giovanna, and I love that. We can set up a group. We can, whatever we know that we need to do to make sure that we get things done and tick those things off and achieve them. Because often if we rely on ourselves, it's like going to the gym. You do it for the first little while, but unless you're going with someone, it just doesn't happen, right?
Yes.
Speaking
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, you're right. And that's exactly the reason why I do it with somebody else, because it's more fun, but also because, if it's up to me, I'm really lazy at my core. People think that I do all these things and so you're always doing this and this. Not really. I just do it. The things that I do it because somehow I'm compelled almost to do them, but they kind of come out in bursts.
Yes.
But the actual methodical, the methodical work and the discipline work, I need somebody else to be there and nag me. So yeah, so that's
totally
definitely.
Get that. Yes.
And I was thinking about all those the moon eclipses and the water and the retrogrades in water, and I was thinking about Pearl remedy. When we did when we tested the turquoise remedy in a group, one of the provers, who's also a friend of mine, said, actually, I think that Pearl remedy would follow well after turquoise. And I thought, okay, I don't see it at the moment, but I'll store it up. Yeah. And after that, I went to Singapore on holiday. And of course, I did a bit of research and the pearls. They've got lots of pearls over there. And so I immersed myself in the pearl energy. I did a workshop on pearls. There was this amazing place over there that offered workshops and stuff. So I went there and I went into pearl energy and I got so many downloads and it really helped me. And first of all, pearl is connected to the moon astrologically, but it's also obviously connected with water, but it's connected with emotions as well, and with where you come from, with your ancestry. I had so many dreams about my grandmother and about my ancestors, and I received a kind of guidance in the dreams, encouragement. So it's a good time. Water is a good time, even if it's in isn't retrograde the time where you kind of reflect? Maybe you pause a
Yes,
little bit and reflect.
absolutely.
And
And,
Pearl
and
can
and
really
change
help you
change
with that.
change direction as well. Quite often
Yes,
you'll see there's actually a different direction that you
yes,
that you need to go in, and you'll look into things a lot deeper. And yes, it slows things down, but normally it's for the better.
yes. And so, Pearl can help you really process maybe past, uh, I'm not saying trauma, everybody's talking about trauma. It doesn't have to be trauma, but process memories that maybe were buried, or process intuitions that, sometimes we get, but they don't come to the frontal cortex. They just stay at the back of our mind, and we don't have
Yep.
time to develop them or to really look into them. So Pearl can really, really be good to just, help you process all these emotions and
Mm.
reflection, and give you that calm, to make the most of this time, because it doesn't have to be negative per se, or it doesn't have to be, stopping. It doesn't have to stop you from doing anything. It's just maybe a time to slow down, reflect, regroup, maybe
Mm.
change a little bit. So
So
yeah.
particularly with all these water signs and a lot of that water energy, you'd recommend using the Pearl Remedy.
Yes, yeah, and
Mm.
particularly during full
Mm.
moons, if you are very
Yes.
sensitive to the full moon, which I never used to be, but I think that the lunar aspects and the eclipses and the full moons, they have been stronger and stronger in the past couple of years, because
Yes.
I was never that sensitive, and now I am. So I'm thinking,
Mhm.
I don't know, something stuff is changing, stuff is pivoting, the universe. I mean, and also
Yes.
the solar flares, all the plasma
Yes.
thing, and they're talking about the 3I Atlas, and all this stuff is happening. There's a
Yes.
riot out there in the universe,
Yes.
and we're being affected, which
Mm.
is fascinating, and it's exciting, because I think that, a lot of people talk about the veil is thin, and I mean, not to be kind of, I don't like the woo woo and the airy fairy stuff and all of it, but um I do believe that there's a ton of stuff that we cannot see because of our limited five senses. But I feel that somehow yes, there are kind of breaks in the matrix, and we can get glimpses of what's happening in the other dimensions that we
Yeah.
cannot see.
I completely agree. So, if I can share something with you, it was probably a couple of years ago now. I had the star beings come through when I was doing a reading for a client. So, I was doing a reading where they were getting an astrology reading, but there was the psychic component. And then quite often I'll tune in to see if someone on the other side is trying to come through. And I was like, yes, but it's not a person. And it took me a little while to get the information right. And it was the star beings coming through because they wanted to work with the client that I was working with. And they said, but we need to do a healing on you so you feel it and experience it so you can facilitate it for her and show her what we want to do. So I'm like, okay, sounds great. So I sat back. They did this mind blowing healing on me. So I understood how they worked, how they wanted to work with my client. And then afterwards, so we did all of that. It was great. They said, we want to work with you as well. And since then, I've had other groups of star beings come through. So I've got the Palladian star beings, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Venusian star beings, and it is blowing my mind. And I'm not woo woo. For those of you that know me, you know I have one foot in the corporate world because I love the work that I do, and then one foot in this world, which is why a lot of my clients like my readings because we talk about success in business and what they need to do and how they can amplify those energies. So for me to talk about working with star beings, I know it sounds really out there,
I need
but
to have a
it
reading.
is quite phenomenal
I need
because
to have a
it.
reading.
We can organize that, Helen. Um, just working with them in ways that I never knew was possible or even thought was possible, and teaching me all these things that are just blowing my mind. So they're teaching me a new sequence at the moment. So we're halfway through. It's a sequence of steps that they want to teach me. So I sit down at a certain time, we do it. My mind is blown. And like you said, Giovanna, I'm not into the woo-woo stuff. And when people talk about the veil lifting in the past, I'd be like rolling my eyes, whatevs. But I am feeling it. And so for someone that's not woo-woo to say I'm feeling it, things are definitely shifting.
Yeah, definitely. And that's also, by the way, the reason why I like your take on your angle on astrology, because it's very grounded. But at the same time, yes, you cannot deny that there are energies, there are forces. And that's
Yeah.
also why the timing, you were talking about the timing, the work that we did on the turquoise, first of all, okay, it's a long story. I'm not going to bore everybody here, but you can read it in my book.
I
But
can't wait for your book, Giovanna. It's going to be awesome.
the way that it came about, it was really felt like it was not my idea. It really felt I was being pushed, and I was getting clues, and I was literally put in front of, this is what you need to do next, go do it. And then
Yes.
once I took that decision, everything fell into place. I mean, where are we going to
Yes.
find the venue? How are we going to travel over there? Everything literally
It's sorted
dropped
out. Yep.
easily, and it just
Yep.
flowed. I was like, right, I need to do this. I really need to do this. And when we were working on it, again, I can only describe as getting downloads, just words, thoughts
Yes.
get into my consciousness. And I had to being compelled to blurt it out loud. I mean, it was really, really a weird, weird experience, but thank goodness we were in a group, so we all witnessed it and we all had very similar experience. So we can all say, yeah, it was real, it really happened.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I would still think, well, maybe I got carried away, maybe I imagined it. So yes, so this is the right time, because yes, the boundaries, whatever they are, are thinning between ourselves and
Yeah,
whatever.
and this is how Saturn and Neptune in Aries work together. So anything that's like spiritual or what we might call woo-woo, Saturn is going to ground it into a way that's practical, and we can actually use it to help people, because that's what it's all about. It's all about helping people. And this is why I'm so excited about Saturn and Neptune in Aries, because it grounds all of this, and what might have been previously considered too out there to even talk about, it's communicated and downloaded in a way that's palatable for
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
very exciting time.
It is, yes, and more people are getting it. That's the other thing.
Yes.
It's really amazing. So it is really exciting. I'm really, really excited for this year and the next year. I think that I know there is the shadow side, and I'm also glad that we're doing this now today, because as I said, this year is already kind of showing itself. The dynamism can also be dramatic, can also be scary, quite
Yes.
frankly.
Yes.
But that's it's like, it's like the symptoms. It's like when you get a skin eruption on your face and you focus on a skin eruption, but look, that's just a symptom of what's going on. And
Yes.
maybe there's stuff that needs to come out. And it's
Exactly.
not going to look particularly pretty for a while, but it's going to go away, and it's going to, I don't know if I want to say resolve, but it's going to change things. And it's up to us whether the change is going to be for the better or not.
Yes, absolutely. But we all have the capacity to create a phenomenal 2026, and it starts with the new moon this weekend. So I'm looking forward to, please feel free to reach out and message us and let us know what you want to create, what you want to put in place, because we actually really enjoy hearing about it and seeing what you create. I love hearing the results and the impact of what you do.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
definitely. And yeah, and I remember that you did a reading of my chart before before the workshop, and I didn't tell you what I was planning, etc. And everything, the energies were exactly spot on, like you said. So yeah, so you're going to do the mini readings for the Neptune
Yes.
Saturn conjunction. Yes,
I
I remember.
will. So I'll put a post up on Facebook. I'll post up about the energies and the new moon. I am so dedicated to having a better presence on my Cosmic Queen Facebook page this year. I know I've been a bit sporadic, so I will
No,
put
yes,
some
because I
posts up.
missed you. I was like, where's the there's a new
Where is she?
eclipse. Where is she? I need to
Yeah,
know.
where's she gone? But I will make an effort because I do really enjoy it to put the posts up, and I'll put up the special to do mini readings for people for um, the Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and it will just be a mini reading, so it won't be expensive, just so that it's affordable for people, so you can get those insights
Yes, I
and
can put the
know what you
link
want to
to
focus
that
on. Yeah.
on YouTube. So this is being recorded, as you know. So once it goes onto my YouTube channel, Evolutionary Homeopathy, I will put the link to your Facebook page. And I will also put a link if anybody wants to know more about what is called C5 turquoise or
I
pearl.
do. I
Um,
do.
I
I'm going to be
have
messaging you about this.
So the remedies available, you can contact now Australia. I'm not sure I am set up to ship to Australia like automatic through my website, but you can message me directly
I'll
and I can
message you. Yeah.
just ship it
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you.
But you can find it on my website. You can find the proven results, all the description on my Patreon channel. My Patreon channel is called Evolutionary Homeopathy as well, and I will put the links below. And I'm going to do, this is part of the planning that I'm going to do today, my calendar. I am going to do a webinar on Pearl Remedy,
Mm.
possibly in March. But you know, you can subscribe to my Patreon channel. It's only $5 a month, or you can just go in, and if you're interested in only one particular topic or one particular video, you have the opportunity. You can just do a one-off purchase, and they're really inexpensive. And yeah, and you can find out a little bit more about gemstone remedies, or follow me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Homeopathy Heals. But I'll put all the links below. And yeah, and then of course I'll tell everybody once my book is finally out.
Yes, I can't wait. That is going to be so awesome. And it's going to be, I'm going to find, it'll be a really riveting read. That's the word that came through. It's riveting.
Well, it's not going to be long. It's not War and Peace for
Mm.
those who are maybe worried or don't have a lot of time. But it is actually, I think it is. That's the reason why I decided to write it, because it's not just the description of what we did. It's
No,
about
it's the
how it
impact.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a journey of synchronicities. It's a tale of synchronicity, one after the other, like literally being led. You know, like I didn't do anything. I had to follow the crumbs. That's what I
Yes.
did. It's really amazing. So that's why I wanted to write about it, because I was like, whoa. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, anything else that you want to add?
Nothing else from me. Did anyone have any questions or
Yeah.
anything that you'd like to add? Feel free to jump in. You can unmute or pop something in the chat. No? Okay.
Okay, then you can, yeah, you can ask Cosmic Queen on a one-to-one privately.
Absolutely. Feel free to message us if you'd like to. But thank you, Helen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. Um, it's been so nice to connect with you again, Giovanna. I have missed you. But I
Yeah,
love
miss you
seeing you
too.
back with your fabulous red hair and turquoise top. You look phenomenal. I love it.
Thank you so much. You look great. I love that pink. I cannot pull off that pink. That's a beautiful color. That's it, colors. Let's bring the brightness. Enough with
Yes.
it's winter here, so everybody's always dressed in black and gray, and oh, it makes me so depressed. No, let's
No, bring
bring
the
some
color.
color.
Yes. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Myra. Lovely seeing your face, Myra. I've so Myra and I go back, I don't know how many years it is, Myra, but we go back a long way. So it was really lovely seeing your face. Thank you, Joanna. That was ace. Oh, I love you, Deborah. That was ace. Off to plan and create. Oh, that's exactly what I want to hear.
Fantastic.
Feel
Yes, I hope
free
it.
to message us and update us because those that know me really, October 2008, it was too. It was too. So
Wow.
we did Egypt as part of a big um,
Wow.
group of friends that we all sort of most of us knew each other, met a few new friends on that trip, but it was life changing. My brother's literally about to go to Egypt now, and I didn't want to leave Egypt. When we were there, I felt like I was leaving my soul behind. I loved Egypt. Yes,
Fantastic.
yes.
That's great. Well, I hope everybody's feeling inspired and
Yes, I hope
excited.
so too. So
So,
sending you all so much love and love for a really phenomenal 2026 that you create something magnificent that you can look back on and know that you planned out the year and created that and be really proud of that. Yeah.
fantastic. That's a
Thanks, Lindley.
great.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you all.
Thank
And thank
you.
you, Giovanna.
Thank you so much, Cosmic Queen.
Thank you.
And okay, I'll see
We'll
you. Well,
talk
I guess I'll
soon.
see you next year, if not sooner. Okay.
I'm going to be messaging you anyway. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.